What's good, YouTube? You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Sai here, the wonderful vitamins fusion nurse, with another Handicap Heights Healthcare episode today. But before we get into this episode, I want to give a special shout out and a special thank you to my boy Asher for creating his brand movement app, you know what I'm saying, resource called PreHealthDisability, man, for people who born with physical differences to be able to integrate into the workforce, into society, to be able to educate people and change the narrative, man, because we just like everybody else. And that's one of the most important things, is to be able to educate through intellect and through action. And my boy is one hell of a medical assistant, man, on a wheelchair, man, you know, so that is just enthralling and inspiring to see. So it's only right, you know, that I give my appreciation and my flowers, you know, especially for somebody who's physically different. You know, I was born with the condition, you know, it's called water syndrome, you know, which is a mesodermal defect, and it only affects about 1% of the population. And as far as, you know, the causes, some of the doctors, they say it is unknown. It's not genetic or hereditary, but it's more so due from the environment, and just for me researching and just being the history buff. You know, there can be chemicals just from past wars, such as Agent Orange, or another chemical called thalidomide, which was used to treat like bacterial infections and whatnot, but it was causing the mother's offspring or their children to come out with severe birth defects and limb abnormalities, which is what you see with children who have the same physical abnormalities that they were born with. So when you put you know, those pictures you know, side by side, and then the genetic testing, and you see the different genetic factors and the different genetic codes, you know, you can kind of see a couple of the similarities of what it can be. You know, you can kind of you know, zone in on what you might think it is, but you know, there can be a list of many other causes, you know, but it's very interesting to be able to see what caused it and whatnot, you know. But the most important thing is to be able to know how to navigate with it, you know, within society. And that's what my boy Asher, you know, is emanating and orating, you know, through his movement, you know, through his brand and platform, you know. And with water syndrome and everything that I was born with, you know, when I was born, you know, with a fused spine, limb abnormalities, you know, my thumb is deformed too as well. I'm missing my index and my thumb. Phalanges is damaged too as well. The metacarpals too. You know, my humerus was the only part of my arm that had developed. I'm missing my radius, my thumb, so I had to have reconstructive hand surgery on my thumb too. That didn't work, but just from the physiological aspect of it, just from the body, you know, just looking at it, you wouldn't think that it have full function without any adaptations or any devices, you know. But you know, I think one of the best things to be able to know how to work with what you got is to just be able to just integrate yourself and just doing everyday things. And one of the most important things was just my parents, my mom, my brother, my sister, you know, they all treated me, you know, like I was regular, you know. So just from that, I was able to, you know, do everything like a normal person, you know, pick up a towel and everything, you know, pick up this bag of candy right here, man, some M&Ms, you know, get my AirPod case with the one hand, you know. So it's just different things like that, you know. So yeah, that's all that is just being able to utilize it within your everyday life. Once you utilize it within your everyday life, it's easy. And you know, that's one of the questions that I get asked a lot, you know, is was it difficult, you know, just using my arm in everyday life? You know, it wasn't, you know, difficult. It was more difficult in just educating people and just having to integrate, you know, into society, because, you know, human nature, you know, they have a certain response to things that they don't know unless they're educated to a certain degree. But sometimes when, you know, people react a certain way, it can cause an alienation, or, you know, cause people to kind of, you know, lose touch with how people are. And so that can, you know, create loss of opportunities, and when you don't have opportunities, you're not able to take care of yourself, etc. So just, integrating in society and just educating them and let them know that you can, complete the same task and everyday things like the average normal person can. It can open up more opportunities, and that's what you see, with my boy Asher. He's in a wheelchair, and he's, still being one hell of a medical assistant. Checking your blood pressure, checking your height, your weight, getting you triaged. So he is an expert, at what he does, and looking up your medical records. Do you need a vaccine? What are you coming in today? Do you have a fever? Do you have a stomach ache? Are you pregnant? Did you come from having a party? Do you feel lightheaded? So just assessing the patient and just asking, different questions and whatnot, so I don't, know him as a person, but just looking from what he has demonstrated, from his page and his movement and his brand, it just shows how dedicated, that he is, to what he believes and what he wants to, emanate to the world. And I think that is extremely important. Just, doing just everyday tasks, like I said, that helps you, utilize what you have. And once you utilize what you have, then you can utilize every other thing of what you come across. And when people can see that, you're a go-getter, that you can work, through any environment, it only enhances who you are too as well, as a person. So it's like two birds with one stone, with you. They see that, you are a persistent, hardworking person, and nothing can, throw you off balance. So when people can see that from you, and it'll only, cause them to be able to, gravitate, towards you more and be more enthralled with you, And as far as like devices or anything that I created, I don't really have like any device that I created or whatnot. As far as using my hands, my thumb has limited function, so I mainly open everything or use the first point of contact with my index and my middle finger, for everything. As you guys see, when I'm opening the packages, and the tourniquets and everything, the two main fingers that I use is my index finger and my middle finger. But I use my thumb really sometimes to kind of, grip stuff like a towel or something like that, pair of glasses, I can grip it. So it's just all about manipulating your body, your body's physiological movement of it, so that's why. So it's just all about just knowing how to manipulate the body mechanics, the physiological aspect of it. And once you know how to manipulate it like that, then you can have a workaround, like this, if this was an egg and I had to crush the egg, yeah, I can crush the egg, or I can switch the fingers and use my middle finger and then my ring finger like that and smash it with my index finger, or I could just put it in my palm and then smash it. But this is my camera battery. I was just using it as like an egg reference. But as you guys see, yeah, so that's just a simple analogy of how I manipulate my thumb and my index finger and my middle finger and my ring finger. So I would say this, man, no matter what you have, you gotta understand too as well, when you have a physical difference, especially that's visible, other people too as well, they might have a physical difference or a disability too as well that may be hidden. So sometimes they may try to project their insecurities or how they may feel first onto you because they see that you got your physical difference. So they will want to try to put the limelight onto you instead of having it onto them, which will cause them to be alienated. And a lot of the times that you see is that when you talk to somebody individually, one-on-one, and they relate to you, you get a different perspective, a new insight. Oh, okay, that's why you support the movement now. Just from looking at you from the outside, I wouldn't have guessed that you had a physical difference. I probably would know, but just, just an analogy. Oh, okay, your physical difference is hidden. So now that your physical difference is hidden, but you were able to relate to somebody with a physical difference that is visible, there is relation of support. But some people are just not necessarily scared, but some people just don't want the attention that's onto them, but they support you, in the crowd. They just don't want to put their hand up, and make them a target, and that's totally understandable, and that's totally okay, because I understand, that when people see that you're disabled or physically different, it can limit, certain opportunities, and they don't want certain opportunities to be limited, for them, but they support you too as well. And that's another thing of what I've been learning since I've been achieving my aspirations, and just leveling up in life, man. A lot of people who have physical differences that are hidden, man, they support you too. And a lot of the times they don't really mean to try to put the limelight on you. It's just because they don't want the limelight on them, man. But you gotta be the educator of every interaction. Let them know, hey, man, you know what? It's all right. You don't have to interact in that type of way. You can interact in this type of format to get this result. And when you educate them on that, it changes the experience for everybody. Now everybody is included, man. It's universal now, because now you have something that is indifferent, but everybody can kind of relate to it, man. Because everybody can relate to something, whether it was difficult or whether it was fun or whether it was easy, and put your own little twist onto it. But yeah, that's one of the most important things that I would say, man. A lot of people support you, but it's just that the harshness of society, it's just shut down upon if you're physically different, but you just gotta be the educator, man, every interaction, and that's what my boy Asher is doing. He's being the educator of every interaction, man, breaking barriers, letting people know that it's possible, and that only inspires and motivates the next generation. Now we got more people to help us within healthcare, and it only enhances the quality of life for everybody, because now people see that he's doing that in a wheelchair. He's probably inspiring 10 other people that's not in a wheelchair and making them get up off their to be able to go chase their dreams and whatnot. Now we got more people chasing their dream and aspirations, not just people with physical differences, but everybody as a whole. So I think that's one of the most important things, man. But yeah, always remember, man, my disability is not a limitation, but an invitation to do great things, man. And that's a quote, that I created and that I live by. My disability is not a limitation, but an invitation to do great things. So just always remember that, man. Excuses are extinct when you recognize the power of the mind. All right. Don't never let nobody project their limitations onto you. You born with everything that you need to do, okay? It's just like war. I would say your physical difference in everyday activities is like war. Just because you load up and use one weapon this way, don't mean that you gonna load up the M32 grenade launcher that way. There's a certain instruction and a certain way on how to use that. And it varies from weapon to weapon, and in the civilian world it varies from situation to situation. How do I grab this? Gotta grab it this way. If I'm playing basketball, open up your palms, or you can hold it this way. If you driving, okay, you grip it at 10 to 2 in a C shape like this, okay. You don't hold it open palms up like this, like you're playing basketball. Yeah, you can still drive like that, but C shape, 10 to 2. So different things call for different instructions on how to complete it, man. So yeah, but you got this, man. And always remember, my disability is not a limitation, but an invitation to do great things, man. But your boy Sai is out. I want to give a special salute, man, to my boy Asher and PreHealthDisability, man. Hey, we out, man. Hey, salute.